I have returned in the flesh, and I guess as well, kind of returned in topic, as today I'm going to be going over a topic I covered a long time ago that I feel like has changed quite a bit. That being 5 characters that are really good, that as well, you should probably main if you're deciding on, a random character to try to pick up. Now, of course, I did make a previous one of this in a previous patch, in a previous meta, so you can check that out at the top of our screen right now. But if you want some current information on what I think, this is going to be the video for you. That all in mind, let's get going. I'm starting off this list with Pikachu, and you should keep in mind that every single character in this list is actually going to be different except for one, but I will mention some of the older picks because they still do apply quite closely. Now, anyways, with Pikachu, I feel like he has finally made his rise in Smash Ultimate, mainly because Pikachu was just kind of holding him back for a while. For a while, it seemed like Pikachu was probably the best character in the game, and why would you pick Pikachu when you could pick Pichu? They're kind of similar, blah blah blah, that's kind of how it went. Now, as Pichu finally got a nerf though, Pikachu has definitely risen, because Pikachu, doesn't have all the negatives of Pichu, and doesn't have nearly as bad of negatives as Pichu anymore, especially in the newest patch. Pichu is kind of bad at certain things now. Pichu is kind of bad at playing defensive. Pichu is kind of bad at, really taking his time, while Pikachu is actually kind of solid at literally everything. He has a good recovery that's hard to mess up, he's a small character, he has super long combos, he has safe moves, a spammable projectile, kill moves. He has just kind of a little bit of everything. Now, the thing that I like especially about Pikachu is that you can play a very basic Pikachu with a few combos and do all right. But as time goes on, you can learn longer loops, you can learn kill confirms, you can learn all of that, super good edge guarding, and kind of become a god as this character, as we've seen with quite a few players. Pikachu's playstyle, as well, I should mention right here, is actually quite easy to get into. Essentially, all you gotta do when you're starting to play him is just spam your projectile at long range, and either use that to get in, or make so that your opponent has to dodge it or play around it to let you get in. Or on the other hand, just send it out, wait for your opponent to do something, have them attack you, and hopefully whiff that attack, and then whiff punish your opponent. Those are kind of the main things to do with this character. Overall, he's pretty basic, he's really strong, and he has a lot of room for improvement, which I think makes him a great character to pick up and to get better at over time. Talking about characters that you gotta pick up and do pretty good with, but that you'll get much better with over time, we got JoeK as the next slot. Now, I know right now JoeK is just getting a ton of hate because, NKLA is doing well with him, he's carrying players, whatever, but I feel like JoeK is a really good character that I should mention right here. I'm going to start off by saying right here that JoeK actually may be a little bit harder to pick up than some of these other characters, because while you can just pick him up and we can kind of abuse Arsene, a lot of times in neutral when you're playing normal JoeK, it is going to be a little bit difficult. You do have to actually learn pretty good spacing, you will have to learn when to use your moves, how to time your moves, quite a bit better than a lot of the other characters on this list to just do okay. And while he's, I guess, a medium difficulty to start off with, the thing that I like about him, again, like with Pikachu, is that it'll take a long time to master him, but you'll be doing pretty good along the way. There's so much stuff to learn as this character, there's so much stuff to do as this character, and even if you aren't doing it all perfectly, you can work one piece at a time, get better and better and better, and eventually become great as him, while still starting off pretty dang good. Now, the things that make JoeK so good is, of course, his great spacing with back air, neutral air, and sometimes some of his tilts, his dumb edge guarding, mainly with back air, his great combos, which can either, start off with stuff just like, his throw combos or his back air into, dash attack, and can later on lead on to very extended combos. And the fact that JoeK is actually super hard to combo himself, being able to down B out of just about anything, or downward gun out of really just about anything. Which makes it that you don't have to worry too much about disadvantages JoeK, which is just kind of dumb. And I guess finally he does have a good recovery. JoeK just kind of has everything you need, and what kind of makes JoeK surpass some of the other characters for me is that he actually has a lot of potential projectile spam. He has his gun, he has his side B, and it makes it that your opponent can't be out all the time. And if they're trying to, you can down B that, kind of making your opponent actually have to play the game. I think that a lot of other characters kind of struggle with, and I think that I really like about this character. I guess the final thing I have to mention, of course, is that, yeah, as well, Arsene can kind of carry you sometimes. Arsene can kind of steal games. And if you want a character that can just make comebacks out of nowhere, JoeK is a really fun character to do that with. Okay, so as a warning right here, if you pick up Snake, you will only be playing Snake. Or at least, for most players, if you pick up Snake and you want to main Snake, you will only be maining this character, because he is someone who is so strong, but so unique. He plays like literally nobody else, even the other camping characters, and he's just kind of his own Smash character. So that's a warning for you if you want to pick him up. Now, moving on to Snake though, Snake is just kind of dumb. That's what I'm going to say about this character. He's a character that is hard to kill because of his weight, hard to combo because of his frame 1 grenade, a pretty decent recovery that's pretty hard to finish off, pretty hard to edge guard, does a ton of damage per hit, can spam a bajillion projectiles, and if your opponent doesn't have a way to beat that, well, rip. And doesn't really need to play the game just like anyone else to win. He doesn't have to go in. He doesn't have to attack his opponent to win. He can just throw projectiles over and over again until you eventually just kind of end off the game, get a kill off of a projectile, and there we go. It's kind of weird because Snake, I'm going to say, isn't really that hard to start playing. His basic plan is pretty easy to get into. You know, just use your chunky hitboxes and spam grenades and you'll start doing okay. But like Joker, he has a huge skill cap. I feel like with Snake and with projectiles in general, you can do pretty much infinite stuff. You could get infinite edge guards, infinite combos, infinite ledge traps. There's so many different ways you can position your things, that you can time your things. And it's just one of those things that you need a lot of time as this character to get amazing as. But, you know, with his general benefits, you can do well as him pretty early on, even without having all that. But it is really nice to have. I want to say as well here that Snake just kind of screws over a lot of other characters with his low crouch, with his grenades, with his Nikita. All of those just kind of allow him to just auto-win certain matchups almost if you aren't really bad at the character. So if you're okay with people hating you and hating your character, but you want to do pretty well and you want to play a character that's really strong, that plays like nobody else, and you're a pretty defensive player, Snake is probably the choice for you. With this next choice, I'm going to say that Mario and Wolf are kind of in the same boat for me. And I had Wolf in the last list, so mainly in this one I'm going to be focusing on Mario. But both of them have great close range, they have great smashes, and decent recoveries with a good projectile. And as well, are all pretty great to pick up as they're basic characters that are great to get good at the game with because they're so basic. Now, I will say right here that Mario is quite a bit lower tier than most of the other picks here. But I think that the reason why I wanted to put him up so high is because he teaches you Smash Bros. A lot better than I think a lot of his other characters, while still being a pretty dang great character himself. Mario isn't necessarily amazing at anything. He doesn't have an easy anything, except for maybe combo game, but he's good enough to teach you how to do everything well. He has good enough spacing to do that well. He has a good enough projectile game to learn how to go in with that or to play defensively. He has a good enough, down B, side B game to learn how to edge guard, and good enough combo game to kind of get just used to how combos work with him. That'll mainly transfer to just about any other character as well. I feel like Mario is just a character that is now good enough in most people's eyes to pick up and to win a decent amount of stuff. Not a super major yet, but something close. And I feel like in general, we've just been seeing a lot more Mario players as time has shown up. A lot more lower level players are giving him a chance. A lot more higher level players are kind of starting to do well with him. And while he doesn't have Arsene or Sword or anything like that, the stuff that we thought that would hold him back really isn't. And he's actually been tearing up tourneys quite a bit. His combo game, especially, has been doing so much more than we thought it could possibly do. And I think with this all put together, it makes Mario a pretty dang good choice if you want to just pick up a character, if you want to get good at that character. I guess I should say as well, for me at least, Mario is one of the most hyped characters, and a lot of people watching you will just have a ton of hype, a ton of good moments. That can be really good if you want to be a player that, kind of struggles with crowds, but Mario can kind of help you with that. That's a thing that normally you don't think about way too much, but I feel like Mario is definitely, kind of a secret power play in that sense. With that said, though, Mario is a really good choice there. The final character I'm going to put here is Palutena, and I would potentially put Lucina here as well, but I feel like Palutena barely scrumps her out because she is just slightly more consistent to play, in my opinion, and doesn't really have any kind of awkward matchups, which Lucina can potentially have, especially versus projectile characters. So with Palutena, the thing about her is that she's just the most basic character you can play. When I was talking about Mario, he's a basic character. He's a basic brawler. Palutena is like one level above that. She's a character that when you pick her up, there isn't too much style, too much flashy stuff you're going to be doing. She just has a certain game plan that you'll pull out, and you'll do really well with it. All it is that in neutral, you use Nair for combos, you use back air and upper for kills, you use up smash at the ledge, you use your fair for shield pokes, and for some potential combo starters, and then you use your down throw for combos, well, sometimes using some of your tails to try to hit people off the cliff, and maybe you throw out a few side Bs or neutral Bs to annoy your opponent, or to maybe just, make them air out off stage, or to just kill them off stage as well. I feel like the thing about Palutena is that there's nothing super special about Palutena. There's nothing that makes her absolutely broken, but she has so many just top tier tools in her disposal. If her tilts were god tier, she'd just be busted, but otherwise her arrows mainly and a lot of her specials, they're so good. And her basic tools are incredibly strong, and strong enough to actually do well in a tournament, and to mess up a lot of people in a tournament. And I should also mention right here, she's the character that is really hard to mess up with in a tournament, and I think that's especially important. You don't really have to be afraid of missing your combos with her. You don't really have to be afraid of missing your kill confirms with her. You don't really have to be afraid of, being super afraid in a tournament and just messing something up, because a lot of the times you won't do that because she's just so basic in her nature. And I think that's actually a really good thing for players because it helps you focus on getting better at neutral, helps you focus on learning combos faster than just about anybody, helps you focus on edge guarding, helps you focus on doing everything pretty safely. And I think she's just really darn good, especially after all the other characters' nerfs. She maybe isn't the best character in the entire game, but for learning, for picking up as an easy character, she's definitely one of the top ones for me. And, you know, if you want to pick up somebody, and if you aren't too afraid of, you know, having people that, you know, might potentially call you carried at certain points, she's a great pick for you. But anyways, those are 5 of the best characters in the game right now, at least in my opinion. That as well, you should probably pick up if you want to, you know, pick up a certain character if you want to get better at the game or anything like that. These characters all have their strengths, all don't have way too many weaknesses, and while I did, you know, have a few cop-out picks, I feel like in general they are just so good. These characters are so spicy. I definitely recommend to play any of them. With that all said though, guys, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below what character you believe, if you know I missed them, should be on this list, who you think is a great character or one of the best characters in the entire game right now. Subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. Top of the screen right now is going to be a card for a playlist, which actually had the other video in this series, which still does apply quite a bit, so I'd recommend to check that out. As always, guys, thank you all for watching and have a smashing day.